What the hell is this? Lieutenant Cole Mitchell's voice cracked like a whip across the quiet suburban street. His baton slammed onto the hood of the black SUV with such force the entire vehicle shuddered. Sweat poured down his temples, veins bulging in his neck as he leaned into the driver's window. "Drugs on your knees, you piece of trash." The black man behind the wheel didn't flinch. He just stared back with eyes that had seen this dance before. Cole's hand was already on his holster finger, twitching. Jake had just finished planting the second bag in the trunk. This was supposed to be easy. Another statistic, another quota filled, another promotion closer. But something in those calm, knowing eyes made Cole's gut twist. He had no idea he'd just made the worst mistake of his life. Before we continue with what happens next, hit that subscribe button right now. This story is going to take you on a journey you won't believe, and I need you here until the very end. Drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from so I can see just how far this story travels. Now let's get back to the moment everything changed. 15 minutes earlier, Cole Mitchell sat in his patrol car, phone pressed against his ear, listening to words that would destroy 3 lives before sunset. Increase the arrest rate. Black civilians. We need numbers, not reasons. Chief Harry Sullivan's voice carried the casual cruelty of a man who'd forgotten these were human beings he was talking about. Just statistics, just numbers on a spreadsheet that determined federal funding. Understood, Cole said. You want good stats, I'll deliver. He ended the call and looked at Jake Brennan in the passenger seat. 28 years old, already corrupted beyond redemption. The kid had dead eyes, the kind you see on men who've crossed too many lines to ever find their way back. "So, we just grab any black guy we see?" Jake asked, not even pretending to care about the moral implications. Cole turned to him slowly. "We grab whoever looks like they don't belong. Rich neighborhoods, expensive cars, makes for better headlines when we bring them in." From the back seat, Davis spoke quietly. "You ever think about what happens to them after their families, their lives?" "They shouldn't have been where they didn't belong," Cole snapped. Then he saw it, the black SUV turning onto Riverside Drive, sleek, expensive, tinted windows, perfect. "There," he said, starting the engine. "That's our number for today." Marcus Hayes had spent 23 years in federal law enforcement. He'd survived firefights in 3 countries, taken down drug cartels, and prosecuted terrorist cells. But nothing in his extensive training had prepared him for the gut-wrenching reality of being on the other side of the badge. He saw the patrol car in his rearview mirror, saw it accelerate, saw the brief flash of lights. His hands tightened on the wheel, not from fear, from something deeper, something that lived in the bones of every black man in America, the knowledge that a routine traffic stop could become a funeral. He thought of his daughter, 12 years old. Last week she'd asked him, "Daddy, why do some police officers hate people who look like us?" He'd given her the careful answer, the diplomatic one, the one that protected her innocence a little longer. "Not all officers, baby. Most are good people." But now, watching Cole approach in his mirror, Marcus wondered if he'd lied to her. He pulled over smoothly, cut the engine, placed both hands on the wheel where they could be seen. Every movement deliberate, every gesture designed to de-escalate. It wouldn't matter. Cole reached the window face already twisted with contempt. "You know why I pulled you over?" Marcus kept his voice level. "No, officer. I don't." "Your taillight's out." Marcus glanced at his dashboard. "All systems green. My display shows everything's functioning properly. Would you like me to—" "Don't tell me what my eyes see." Cole leaned closer. "I smell marijuana. Step out of the vehicle." Marcus's heart kicked against his ribs. Here it was, the moment every black parent warned their children about, the moment his own father had survived during the civil rights era. 50 years later, and nothing had changed except the excuses. "Officer, I don't use marijuana. I'm happy to submit to any test. I said step out." Cole's hand moved to his holster. Marcus saw Jake circling to the passenger side, saw Davis hanging back, face troubled. He reached slowly for his phone. "Hands where I can see them," Cole shouted. "I'm just getting my registration." Marcus moved his hand back to the wheel. "It's in the glove compartment." "You'll get it when I tell you to get it." Cole pulled the door open. Out, now." Marcus stepped out into the afternoon sun. The heat hit him like a physical force, but it was nothing compared to the cold rage building in his chest. He'd given his entire adult life to upholding the law, and here he was being treated like a criminal for driving while black. Jake was already at the trunk pretending to check the license plate. Marcus watched in the side mirror as the young officer's hand slipped into his pocket, pulled out a small plastic bag, glanced around, then bent down out of sight of the obvious dash cams, but not out of sight of the third camera Marcus had installed after the 17th complaint crossed his desk, the one hidden in the rear-view mirror housing, the one currently transmitting everything to a secure server. Marcus said nothing, just watched. Let them dig the hole deeper. "Registration and insurance," Cole demanded. Marcus reached into the car, slowly retrieved the documents, handed them over. His hands were steady, but inside his mind was racing. He'd prosecuted cases like this, sent officers to prison for exactly what he was witnessing. And now it was happening to him. "Marcus Hayes," Cole read from the license. "Maryland plates. What are you doing in my district, Marcus?" "Visiting the area. I'm considering a property investment." Cole's lip curled. "Property investment. Hear that, Jake? We got ourselves a real estate mogul." Jake straightened up from the trunk, gave a subtle nod. The plant was done. "Well, Mr. Real Estate," Cole continued, "I'm going to need you to put your hands behind your back." "On what grounds?" "Suspicion of drug possession." Marcus's pulse spiked. "You haven't searched the vehicle. You have no probable cause." Cole stepped closer, voice dropping to a menacing whisper. "I have all the cause I need. You're black, you're in a rich neighborhood, and you got an attitude. That's enough." The words hit Marcus like a physical blow, not because they were surprising, but because they were so honest, so nakedly racist. No pretense, no coded language, just pure, unfiltered contempt. He thought of his father again, beaten on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, arrested 17 times for the crime of demanding dignity. His father had always said, "Son, the badge doesn't make a man righteous, character does." Looking at Cole, Marcus understood what his father meant. "Turn around," Cole ordered. Marcus complied. He felt the cold metal of handcuffs bite into his wrists, heard them click shut. The sound echoed in his chest like a cell door slamming. Jake appeared beside Cole, holding up the plastic bag. "Boss, check this out. Found it in the trunk." Cole's face lit up with manufactured surprise. "Well, well, what do we have here?" Marcus watched the performance in the car's reflection. It would have been convincing if he hadn't seen Jake plant it 90 seconds earlier. "That's not mine," Marcus said calmly. "They all say that." Cole grabbed Marcus's shoulder, spun him around. "You're under arrest for possession of a controlled substance." "I want to speak to my attorney." "You'll get your phone call at the station." Cole's grip tightened, fingers digging into muscle. "After we process you." Marcus saw something flicker in Davis's eyes. Doubt, guilt. For a moment he thought the third officer might speak up, might question what was happening, but Davis looked away. Jake moved toward Marcus, patting him down roughly. Too roughly. Hands that weren't searching, hands that were punishing. "Got a lot of cash here," Jake said, pulling out Marcus's wallet. "Maybe we should add financial crimes to the charges." Marcus's phone buzzed in his pocket. Jake pulled it out, saw the screen. FBI headquarters flashing across the display. "Who's calling you?" Jake demanded. Marcus met his eyes. "My office." "Your office." Jake showed the phone to Cole. "Says FBI headquarters." Cole snatched it away, looked at the screen, then at Marcus. "You work for the FBI." "Something like that." "Doing what? Janitorial?" Marcus said nothing. Let them think what they wanted. The truth would come soon enough. Cole pocketed the phone. "We'll return this when you're released, if you're released." He signaled to Jake, who grabbed Marcus's other arm. Together they walked him toward the patrol car. Each step felt like a descent into something dark, something his grandfather had fought against, something his father had bled to change. And here it was, alive and well in the 21st century. They passed Marcus's SUV. He saw his reflection in the tinted window. Expensive suit, handcuffs, surrounded by 3 white officers. The image would have been unthinkable to his ancestors. A black man dressed like power treated like property. Cole opened the back door of the patrol car. "Watch your head." He shoved Marcus inside anyway. Marcus's forehead cracked against the doorframe. Pain exploded behind his eyes, white and hot. He felt blood trickle down his temple. "Oops," Cole said flatly. "Guess you didn't watch your head." Marcus blinked away stars. His ears were ringing. The pain was sharp, immediate, but it was nothing compared to the humiliation. He'd commanded hundreds of agents, testified before Congress, shook hands with the president, and now he was bleeding in the back of a patrol car, arrested by corrupt cops who saw him as nothing more than a quota to fill. Jake climbed into the driver's seat. Davis took passenger side. Cole stood outside talking into his radio. "Suspect in custody, drug-related arrest, requesting booking confirmation." Through the window, Marcus watched him, studied his body language, the way his shoulders were set, the tension in his jaw. Cole was confident. This wasn't his first time planting evidence, probably wasn't even his 10th. Marcus's head throbbed. He could feel the swelling starting above his eyebrow. In the front seat, Jake and Davis were silent. The radio crackled with acknowledgments and confirmations. Then something changed. Cole's phone rang. Marcus watched him answer, watched his face transform from confidence to confusion to something like fear. The conversation lasted less than 30 seconds. When it ended, Cole stood motionless, staring at nothing. Jake rolled down the window. "Boss, what's wrong?" Cole didn't answer immediately. He walked to Marcus's SUV, circled it slowly, looked at the license plate again, pulled out his phone and made another call. Marcus couldn't hear the conversation, but he could read the progression on Cole's face. Confusion, disbelief, panic. Something was wrong. The system was supposed to be smooth, arrest process release. The victims rarely fought back because fighting back usually made things worse. But something about this arrest had triggered alarms. Cole ended the call and stood there, hand over his mouth, breathing hard. "Boss," Jake called again. Cole walked back to the patrol car, opened Marcus's door. "Get out." Marcus didn't move. "Why?" "I said get out." Marcus slid across the seat and stood. Cole was sweating heavily now, his face pale under the afternoon sun. "Who are you?" Cole asked quietly. "I told you, Marcus Hayes." "Yeah, I know your name." "But who are you really?" Marcus held his gaze. "Someone you should have left alone." Cole's hand was shaking as he pulled out Marcus's wallet again. He'd already checked it once, but now he was going through it more carefully. License, credit cards, gym membership, library card. Then something small fell out, tumbled through the air, catching the sunlight. It hit the pavement with a clear metallic ring. Everyone froze. Cole bent down slowly, picked it up, stared at it. The badge glinted in his palm. Gold and silver, official seal, engraved words that made his breath stop. Federal Bureau of Investigation Director. The silence that followed was absolute. Even the distant traffic noise seemed to fade away. Jake got out of the car. "Boss, what is it?" Cole couldn't speak. He just held up the badge. Jake's face went white. No, that's fake. Has to be. You can buy those online. Everyone knows." "It's not fake," Marcus said quietly. "And you know it's not fake." Davis stepped out of the car, saw the badge, and actually stumbled backward. Oh God, we're finished." Cole's hand was trembling so badly, the badge almost slipped from his fingers. You can't be." "Director of the FBI," Marcus finished. "Appointed 5 years ago. You can verify it with one phone call, or you can check your database. My photo's in there, my credentials, my authority." Jake's phone slipped from his hand and shattered on the pavement. The sound seemed to wake Cole from his paralysis. "This is fake," Cole said, but his voice had no conviction. "You're lying." "Then check." Cole pulled out his phone with shaking hands, typed something, waited. His face went from white to gray. There on his screen was Marcus's official photo. FBI Director Marcus Hayes. The same face now bleeding from a head wound in the back of a patrol car. "We didn't know," Jake whispered. We didn't know. Would it have mattered? Marcus asked. If I wasn't the director, would planting drugs on me have been acceptable? No one answered. Marcus felt something shift in his chest. The pain from his head wound was fading, replaced by something colder, more focused. This wasn't just about him anymore. This was about every person who'd filed a complaint against these officers. Every victim who'd been too afraid or too powerless to fight back. Uncuff me, Marcus said. Cole just stood there frozen. I said uncuff me. Now. Jake fumbled with his keys, hands shaking so badly he dropped them twice. Finally, he got the cuffs unlocked. They fell away from Marcus's wrists, leaving deep red marks in the skin. Marcus rubbed his wrists, feeling blood return to his hands. He looked at all three officers. My wallet, my phone, everything you took. Jake handed them over wordlessly. Marcus checked his phone. 23 missed calls, multiple messages from his deputy director. The last one read, Sir, we have the full recording. Teams are mobilizing. Do you need immediate extraction? He typed back quickly. Stand down. I'm handling this, but preserve all footage. I want every second backed up and distributed. He pocketed his phone and looked at the three men who'd just destroyed their careers. What happens now? Davis asked, his voice barely audible. Marcus touched his forehead where blood was still seeping from the cut. Now you wait. My investigation into your unit has been ongoing for 6 weeks. I have 47 complaints from civilians, all minorities, all claiming the same thing: planted evidence, excessive force, false arrest. He paused. I came here today to observe, to see if the complaints were credible. You just proved they were. Cole found his voice. We were following orders. Orders to violate civil rights. Orders to plant evidence. Orders to target people based on skin color. Marcus stepped closer. Show me those orders, in writing, with official signatures. Silence. That's what I thought. Marcus walked to his SUV, opened the door. Before getting in, he turned back. One more thing. My vehicle has 3 cameras, 2 obvious ones that you avoided, and 1 hidden in the rearview mirror that caught everything, every word, every action, every piece of evidence you planted. Jake made a sound like he'd been punched. The footage has been transmitting live to FBI servers since you first approached. It's already backed up in 7 locations, already time-stamped, already logged as evidence in a federal investigation. Marcus got into his car. So whatever you're thinking about doing next, remember you're on camera. Still. He started the engine. Through the window, he saw all 3 officers standing motionless, their faces masks of shock and despair. Marcus put the car in drive, then paused, rolled down the window. Lieutenant Mitchell, he called. Cole looked up. You're right about one thing. This isn't over. But it's not me you should be worried about. It's justice. And justice doesn't care about badges or uniforms, only truth. He drove away slowly, watching them shrink in his rearview mirror. 3 men standing in the street, surrounded by the wreckage of their careers. Marcus made it 2 blocks before he had to pull over. His hands were shaking now. The adrenaline that had kept him calm was draining away, leaving him hollow. He gripped the steering wheel and allowed himself 30 seconds of pure, unfiltered rage. 30 seconds to feel the humiliation, the violation, the soul-deep exhaustion of being black in America. Then he took a breath, steadied himself, pulled out his phone. His deputy answered on the first ring. Sir, are you? I'm fine, but I need you to assemble a full investigation team. I want every complaint against Mitchell's unit for the past 5 years pulled and reviewed. I want financial records. I want personnel files. I want everything. Yes, sir. Should we bring them in for questioning? Marcus thought about it. Cole's panic, Jake's fear, Davis's guilt. They were small fish. Corrupt, yes. Criminal, absolutely. But they were following orders. Someone higher up had created this system. Not yet, Marcus said. Let them sweat. Let them wonder when we're coming. Fear makes people make mistakes, and I want to know who gave them those orders. He ended the call and looked at his reflection in the mirror. Blood had dried on his temple. His eye was starting to bruise. The marks on his wrists were deep and dark. Evidence. All of it would be photographed, documented, entered into the record. His own body had become a crime scene. His phone buzzed again. This time it was his wife. "Hey," he answered. "Marcus, I saw the alert from your security team. Are you okay?" He closed his eyes. "I'm fine. Don't lie to me. What happened?" "I got pulled over. They planted drugs, arrested me, beat me." The words came out flat, emotionless. "But I'm fine now. I'm handling it." Silence on the other end. Then, "Where are you?" "About to head to headquarters. I need to come home first." "Sweetheart, I need to..." "Marcus." Her voice cracked. "Come home. Please. Our daughter needs to see that you're okay. I need to see that you're okay." Marcus felt something break inside him. All the control, all the professional distance, gone. "Okay," he whispered. "I'm coming home." 20 minutes later, he pulled into his driveway. Before he could even get out of the car, his daughter burst through the front door. She ran to him, threw her arms around his waist, buried her face in his shirt. "Daddy, they said on the news that a FBI director got hurt. I knew it was you. I knew it." Marcus held her tight. Feeling tears he couldn't let fall burning behind his eyes. "I'm okay, baby. I'm okay." His wife appeared in the doorway, her face pale. She saw the blood on his forehead, the bruises forming, and her hand went to her mouth. "Let's go inside," she said quietly. They sat in the kitchen while his wife cleaned his wounds. His daughter sat beside him holding his hand, refusing to let go. "Why did they hurt you?" she asked. Marcus looked at his wife, then back at his daughter. How do you explain systemic racism to a 12-year-old? How do you tell her that the world sees her as a threat simply because of her skin? "Some people," he said slowly, "forget that their job is to protect everyone, not just people who look like them. Because you're black." It wasn't a question. She already knew. "Yes," Marcus said, "because I'm black." "That's not fair." "No, baby, it's not fair." She was quiet for a moment. Then, "Are you going to make them pay for what they did?" Marcus thought about Cole's panicked face, Jake's terror, Davis's guilt. He thought about the 47 other victims who'd filed complaints, the hundreds more who hadn't dared to. "Yes," he said. "I'm going to make sure they answer for every person they've hurt." His daughter nodded, satisfied. "Good." His phone rang again. This time it was a number he didn't recognize. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. "Director Hayes?" The voice was distorted, electronically altered. "You made a mistake today." Marcus's blood went cold. "Who is this?" "Someone who's been watching, someone who knows what you're planning, and someone who's telling you to stop." "I don't respond to threats." "This isn't a threat. It's a warning. What happened today? That was nothing. Just 3 stupid cops who got greedy. But if you keep digging, if you keep pushing, you're going to find something much bigger. And the people protecting it won't be as easy to handle as Lieutenant Mitchell. Are you threatening my family? I'm telling you the truth. Walk away from this investigation. File your report on those 3 officers if you want. But don't go looking for who gave the orders. Don't try to climb the chain. Because if you do, you won't like what you find." The line went dead. Marcus sat frozen, phone still pressed to his ear. His wife saw his face. "What is it? What's wrong?" He looked at his daughter, at his wife, at the home they'd built together, safe, secure, or so he'd thought. "Nothing," he lied. "Just work." But his mind was racing. The voice on the phone had been right about one thing. This was bigger than 3 corrupt cops. This was a system. An organization, something that had roots deep enough to reach into his life and threaten his family. Most men would have backed off, would have arrested Cole, Jake, and Davis, filed the report, and let it end there. But Marcus wasn't most men. His father had faced dogs and fire hoses for the right to vote. His grandfather had survived lynchings for the crime of wanting dignity. They hadn't backed down. They'd fought. They'd bled. They'd won. And Marcus would do the same. He kissed his daughter's forehead. "I love you, baby. No matter what happens, remember that." She looked at him with eyes too wise for 12 years old. "You're going to fight them, aren't you?" "Yes, even if it's dangerous." Especially then. She hugged him tight. "Be careful, Daddy. I will." But as he held his daughter, feeling her small body trembling against his, Marcus knew that careful wasn't enough. Not anymore. The war had begun the moment Cole slammed his baton on that car hood, the moment Jake planted those drugs, the moment they decided Marcus's life was worth less than a statistic on a report. They'd started this. But Marcus was going to finish it. His phone buzzed with an encrypted message from his deputy. "Sir, we've intercepted communications. Someone's trying to erase digital evidence of today's incident. Should we intervene?" Marcus typed back, "No, let them try. I want to know who's helping Mitchell. Track the source." Another message came through, this one from an unknown sender. No words, just an image. It was a photo of his daughter's school, taken today, taken from across the street. The message was clear. "We can reach her." Marcus stared at the photo, feeling ice flood his veins. They'd crossed a line, threatened his child, violated the one sanctuary that should have been untouchable. He looked at his daughter, still holding his hand, trusting him to protect her. And in that moment, Marcus Hayes made a decision that would change everything. He wasn't just going to expose Cole and his team. He was going to burn down the entire corrupt system that had created them, no matter what it cost, no matter who he had to fight, no matter how far the conspiracy reached. This had started as a civil rights investigation. Now it was personal, and Marcus was done playing by their rules. The message on his phone disappeared, automatically deleted after 10 seconds, but the image was burned into his memory. His daughter's school, his daughter's safety. They'd made this about family. Now they would learn what happened when you threatened a father's child. Marcus stood up, kissed his wife, hugged his daughter one more time. "I have to go to work," he said. His wife grabbed his arm. "Marcus, please, whatever you're thinking." "They sent me a picture of her school," he said quietly so their daughter couldn't hear. "They threatened our baby." His wife's face went pale. "Then we call the police. The police did this. The police planted evidence on me. The police beat me. The police are the threat." He cupped her face in his hands. "Trust me. I know what I'm doing." "Do you? Because it sounds like you're about to start a war?" Marcus thought about the badge in his pocket, the authority it represented, the power he wielded, the resources at his command. "I'm not starting a war," he said. "They started it when they decided my life didn't matter. I'm just going to finish it." He walked out to his car. As he drove toward FBI headquarters, his phone rang constantly. Messages, updates, intel, the machinery of federal law enforcement spinning into motion. But Marcus was thinking about something else. He was thinking about his father's words spoken 40 years ago during the height of the civil rights movement. "Son, sometimes the system is so broken that the only way to fix it is to tear it down and build it again from the foundation. That's not destruction. That's renovation. That's rebirth." Marcus pulled into the underground garage at FBI headquarters, took the secure elevator to the 7th floor, walked into his office where his entire senior staff was waiting. They saw his face, the bruises, the dried blood, the fury in his eyes. No one spoke. Marcus walked to the head of the conference table and placed his phone on the surface, pulled up the footage from his dash cam, pressed play. They watched in silence as Jake planted the drugs, as Cole threatened him, as they beat him, as the truth unfolded in brutal, undeniable clarity. When it ended, Marcus looked at his team. "This is what we're fighting. Not just 3 corrupt cops, but a system that created them, protected them, encouraged them." His deputy director spoke carefully. "Sir, if we go after this aggressively, there will be political blowback. The police unions will. I don't care. The mayor's office will. I don't care. Sir, with respect, we need to think strategically about—" Marcus slammed his hand on the table. The sound cracked through the room like a gunshot. "They threatened my daughter. They sent me a photo of her school. This isn't about strategy anymore. This is about justice." Silence. Then his chief of staff spoke quietly. "What do you need from us, sir?" Marcus took a breath, steadied himself. When he spoke again, his voice was controlled, professional, but underneath ran a current of steel. I need a full task force, 20 agents, authorization for wiretaps, subpoena power, access to financial records. I want every complaint against Mitchell's unit investigated. I want every arrest reviewed. I want every piece of evidence examined. And if we find a larger conspiracy, then we follow it, no matter where it leads, no matter who it implicates. His legal counsel shifted uncomfortably. Sir, if this goes high enough, we could be talking about senators, judges, people with real power. Marcus met her eyes. Good. Let them have power. I have the truth. And the truth doesn't care about power. It only cares about being told. He dismissed the meeting and sat alone in his office. Through the window he could see the Washington Monument, the Capitol building, symbols of justice and democracy, but symbols meant nothing if the reality was corruption and racism. His phone buzzed. Another anonymous message. Last chance, Director. Walk away. Marcus deleted it and made a call. This is Director Hayes. I need to speak to the Attorney General. Yes, I know what time it is. This can't wait. Because it couldn't. Every second he hesitated was another second that Cole and his team might destroy evidence. Another second the conspiracy had to cover its tracks. Another second closer to his daughter being in real danger. The Attorney General came on the line. Marcus spent 20 minutes briefing her. When he finished, there was a long silence. You're absolutely certain about this? She finally asked. I was there. I have the footage. I have the evidence on my body. He touched his bruised forehead. Yes, I'm certain. Then you have my full authorization. Whatever you need, whoever you need to investigate. Do it. Marcus ended the call and stood at the window looking out over the city, where somewhere 3 corrupt cops were probably destroying evidence, making phone calls, trying to save themselves. Let them try. He had something they didn't. He had the truth. And the truth was about to burn them all down. Outside, storm clouds were gathering over Washington. Thunder rumbled in the distance. Rain began to fall, washing the streets clean. But Marcus knew some stains ran too deep to be washed away. They had to be burned out, and he was the fire. The rain hammered against the windows of FBI headquarters as Marcus stood in the operations center watching his team work. 40 minutes had passed since his call with the Attorney General. 40 minutes since he'd declared war on a system that had tried to break him. His deputy director, Sarah Chen, appeared at his elbow. Sir, we have a problem. Marcus didn't take his eyes off the screens. Just one. The dash cam footage. Someone's trying to delete it from our servers. That got his attention. What? Sarah pulled up a terminal. Lines of code scrolled past, red warnings flashing. Started 3 minutes ago. Someone with high-level access is attempting to erase the files. They're good, really good, but our security team caught it. Marcus's jaw tightened. High-level access, meaning someone inside the bureau, or someone with bureau credentials. Can you trace it? We're trying. They're routing through multiple proxies. But sir, whoever this is, they know our systems. They know our protocols. This isn't some external hacker. This is internal. Marcus felt ice slide down his spine. He'd expected Cole and his team to try covering their tracks. He'd expected the local police department to circle wagons, but someone inside the FBI, someone with access to his investigation. Lock it down, he said. Everything. All files related to this case get moved to an isolated server. No network connection. Physical access only. Yes, sir? Sarah hesitated. Sir, if someone inside has been compromised, we need to consider that this goes deeper than we thought. I know. Marcus pulled out his phone, saw 17 new messages, most from his senior staff, 2 from numbers he didn't recognize. He opened one of the unknown messages. You were warned. Now your family pays the price. His blood turned to ice. Sarah, I need a protection detail on my family. Right now, full tactical team. Sir. He showed her the message. Her face went pale. I'll have a team at your house in 10 minutes. Marcus was already dialing his wife. It rang 4 times. 5, 6. Finally, she answered. Marcus, listen to me carefully. I'm sending a protection team to the house. Don't let anyone in except federal agents with proper ID. Keep the doors locked. Keep our daughter inside. You're scaring me. Good. Be scared. These people aren't playing games. He heard voices in the background. Who's there with you? Just Emily and her tutor. Why? What's happening? Send the tutor home, now. Don't explain. Just do it. Marcus was already moving toward the elevator. I'm coming home. Marcus, tell me what's going on. He stepped into the elevator, hit the button for the garage. They threatened you. They threatened our daughter, and I'm not taking any chances. The line went quiet. When his wife spoke again, her voice was steady. How long do we have? Protection team arrives in 8 minutes. I'll be there in 20. We'll be ready. She hung up. No argument, no panic, just calm efficiency. That's why he'd married her. She was stronger than steel when it mattered. The elevator doors opened. Marcus ran to his car engine already running thanks to remote start. He peeled out of the garage tires screaming on concrete. His phone rang. Sarah. Sir, the protection team is en route, but we have another problem. What now? Chief Harry Sullivan just walked into headquarters. He's demanding to see you. Marcus's hands tightened on the wheel. Stall him. Sir, he's with his attorney and a city council member. They're threatening legal action if you don't meet with him immediately. Let them threaten. My family comes first. Understood, but Sir Sullivan looks scared. Really scared, like he knows something we don't. Marcus ended the call and focused on driving. The streets were wet traffic heavy. Every red light felt like an eternity. He ran 2 of them badge ready if any patrol car tried to stop him. His phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. Sullivan says he wants to cut a deal, says he'll give you everything if you guarantee protection. Marcus nearly drove off the road. Sullivan wanted to deal, the man who'd given the orders, who'd created the quota system, who'd turned his officers into hunters. Another text. He says the conspiracy goes higher than you think, says people will die if this goes public, says you're in danger. Marcus pulled over, the hands shaking. Not from fear, from rage. Sullivan thought he could threaten Marcus's family, then waltz into FBI headquarters asking for protection. He dialed Sarah. Tell Sullivan I'll meet with him, but not at headquarters. Somewhere public, somewhere with cameras and witnesses. Where? Marcus thought fast. The National Mall. Lincoln Memorial, 1 hour. He comes alone. No attorney, no council member, just him. Sir, that's not protocol for... I don't care about protocol. He wants to deal fine, but we do it my way. And Sarah have a tactical team positioned nearby. If this is a setup, I want backup 30 seconds away. He ended the call and resumed driving. His house was 5 minutes away now. He could see the neighborhood entrance ahead. Then he saw the black SUV parked across the street from his driveway, tinted windows, engine running, no visible plates. Marcus's training kicked in. He drove past his house, didn't slow down, didn't look directly at the SUV. 2 blocks away, he pulled into a grocery store parking lot and called Sarah. I have a vehicle watching my house. Black SUV, no plates positioned for surveillance. The protection team is 3 minutes out. Should they engage? No. I want to know who's in that vehicle. Get me satellite coverage, traffic cams, anything. On it. Marcus waited, watching his mirrors. The SUV hadn't followed him. It was still there, still watching his family. His phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. Director Hayes. The voice was familiar, but he couldn't place it. Male, older, rough with smoke and years. You don't know me, but I know you. I know what happened today. And I know you're about to make a terrible mistake. Who is this? Someone who's been where you are, someone who tried to fight the system and lost everything. A pause. They'll kill you, Director. They'll kill your family. They'll burn your career to the ground, and no one will ever know the truth. Marcus's pulse hammered. Tell me who you are. I was a cop. 20 years on the force. I found what you're looking for, the conspiracy, the network, the people pulling the strings. The voice cracked. It cost me my wife, my daughter, everything I loved. Don't make my mistake. What mistake? Thinking the truth matters more than survival. The line went dead. Marcus sat in his car, hands gripping the wheel so hard his knuckles went white. Another warning, another voice telling him to back down. His phone buzzed. Sarah, protection team arriving at your house now. Marcus pulled out of the parking lot and drove back. The black SUV was gone. In its place were 2 federal vehicles, agents in tactical gear securing the perimeter. He pulled into his driveway. His wife opened the door before he could knock their daughter right behind her. "Are we safe?" his wife asked. Marcus looked at the agents positioning themselves around the property. "Safer than we were." His daughter hugged him tight. "Daddy, I'm scared." He knelt down, looked into her eyes. "I know, baby. But I promise you, I won't let anyone hurt you." "What did you do? Why are these people after us? How do you explain to a 12-year-old that standing up for justice can make you a target, that doing the right thing can put your family in danger?" "I saw something wrong," he said quietly, "and I'm trying to fix it. But the people who did the wrong thing don't want to be caught. So they're trying to hurt us. They're trying to scare us, but they won't succeed." She pulled back, studied his face. "You promise?" Marcus thought about the threats, the warnings, the anonymous calls, the vehicle watching their house. He thought about how easy it would be to walk away, to arrest Cole and his team, file the report, and let the bigger conspiracy stay buried. But then he thought about the 47 other victims, the hundreds more who never filed complaints, the system that kept grinding people up and spitting them out. "I promise," he said, "no one hurts our family." His wife touched his shoulder. "Marcus, maybe we should listen to them. Maybe you should—" "No." His voice was firm. "I've spent my entire career telling people that the law protects everyone equally, that justice is blind, that truth matters. I won't become a liar now." She looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. "Okay, but please, be careful." An agent approached. "Sir, we've swept the house. It's clean. We'll maintain a presence here around the clock." "Thank you." Marcus checked his watch. 40 minutes until his meeting with Sullivan. "I have to go." His wife grabbed his arm. "Where?" "To meet someone who might give me answers." "Might, Marcus? You don't even know if—" "I know." He kissed her forehead. "But I have to try." 25 minutes later, Marcus stood at the base of the Lincoln Memorial. Rain had stopped, but the sky was still dark, threatening more. Tourists climbed the steps, taking photos, oblivious to the meeting about to take place. Sarah's voice came through his earpiece. "Tactical team in position. We have eyes on all approaches. Sullivan just arrived. He's alone." Marcus turned. Chief Harry Sullivan walked toward him slowly, hands visible, no briefcase, no phone. He looked 10 years older than his photo, face drawn, eyes hollow. The swagger Marcus had heard in that phone call earlier was gone, replaced by something like fear. "Director Hayes," Sullivan said quietly. "Chief?" Sullivan looked around at the tourists, the cameras the federal agents Marcus knew were watching. "Smart choice. Public place. Lots of witnesses." "I'm not interested in small talk. You wanted to deal. Start talking." Sullivan wiped his face with a shaky hand. "How much do you know?" "I know you ordered your officers to target minorities. I know you created a quota system. I know you're corrupt." Marcus stepped closer. "What I don't know is why, and who you're working for." "It's not that simple." "Make it simple." Sullivan looked up at Lincoln's statue. "You ever wonder why crime statistics fluctuate so wildly? Why some years are quiet and some years explode?" He didn't wait for an answer. "It's manufactured, controlled. There are people who profit from chaos." Marcus felt his stomach tighten. "What people? Defense contractors, private security firms, politicians who campaign on law and order." Sullivan's voice was bitter. "They need the numbers to justify their budgets, their programs, their existence, so they create the crisis. By ordering police to target innocent people. By creating an environment where arrests go up, crime appears to spike and everyone panics." Sullivan turned to Marcus. "I didn't start this. I inherited it. But yeah, I participated. I gave the orders. I'm guilty." Marcus wanted to hit him. "You destroyed lives." "I know. You traumatized families, sent innocent people to jail, created criminals out of victims." "I know." Sullivan's voice cracked. "You think I don't know. You think I sleep at night? I have 17 years until retirement, 17 years of pension, of security, and I sold my soul for it. Then why are you here? Sullivan pulled out a small USB drive. Because it's gotten worse. The system I helped build has grown beyond my control, beyond anyone's control. It's not just about arrests anymore. It's about weapons, money laundering, murder. Marcus's blood went cold. Explain. There's an organization called the Reform Initiative. On paper, they're a non-profit focused on police training and community outreach. In reality, they're a shell company funneling illegal weapons into urban areas. Why? To escalate violence, to justify increased police budgets, to create demand for private security. It's a cycle. They flood the streets with guns. Crime goes up. Cities panic. Politicians allocate more money. And the people running Reform Initiative pocket millions. Marcus stared at him. You're telling me there's a conspiracy to arm criminals? I'm telling you, I've seen the invoices. I've seen the shipments. I've seen officers who were supposed to confiscate weapons instead redistributing them. Sullivan held out the USB. It's all here. Bank records, communications, names. Marcus didn't take it. Why should I trust you? Because they tried to kill me 2 weeks ago. Sullivan pulled up his shirt. A massive bruise covered his ribs. Car accident. Brake lines cut. I survived because I was driving slow. Next time I won't be lucky. Who tried to kill you? I don't know, but whoever they are, they know I've been collecting evidence. They know I'm a liability. Sullivan's hand was shaking as he held out the USB. Take it. Investigate it. Bring them down. Just promise me protective custody. Marcus studied the older man's face, saw genuine terror there. You want witness protection. I want to live long enough to testify. After that, I don't care. Prison exile, whatever. Just keep me alive. Marcus took the USB. If this is fake, it's not. Check it yourself. Every file is verified. Every transaction is documented. Sullivan glanced over his shoulder. We need to move. I've been here too long. Not yet. I need names. Who runs Reform Initiative? Sullivan's face went pale. I don't have all the names. The organization is compartmentalized. But I know one. Maxwell Chen, Finance Commissioner. He signs off on the city's security contracts. All of them go to companies owned by Reform Initiative shell corporations. Marcus's mind raced. Maxwell Chen was a public figure, well respected. His name had been mentioned for a Senate run. Anyone else? I've heard whispers about others. Senators, judges, maybe even someone in federal law enforcement. Sullivan looked directly at Marcus. That's why I came to you. You're the only one I know isn't compromised. How do you know? Because if you were, they wouldn't have let Mitchell arrest you. They would have warned him off. Sullivan started backing away. I've told you everything I know. The rest is on that drive. Good luck, Director. You're going to need it. He turned and walked quickly toward the parking area. Marcus watched him go, the USB drive heavy in his palm. Sarah's voice crackled in his ear. Sir, we've been monitoring. Did you get all that? Every word. I need this drive analyzed immediately. Full forensic workup. And I want surveillance on Maxwell Chen, 24/7. If he so much as jaywalks, I want to know about it. Copy that. Sir, you should know Sullivan had a tail. Black sedan followed him here, stayed in the parking lot, didn't approach but definitely watching. Marcus's jaw tightened. Get me a plate. I want to know who's following him. He walked to his car, mind spinning. If Sullivan was telling the truth, this wasn't just about corrupt cops. This was organized crime on a massive scale. Weapons trafficking, money laundering, all under the cover of police reform. His phone buzzed. Unknown number again. He answered, heavy breathing. Then a voice distorted, Sullivan's a dead man. So are you, if you don't destroy that drive. Who is this? Someone who's tired of cleaning up messes. Sullivan thinks he's brave. He's just stupid. And stupidity is fatal. Is that a threat? It's a fact. Check his car in about 90 seconds. The line went dead. Marcus's blood turned to ice. He started running toward the parking lot, shouting into his radio. Sarah Sullivan's car, get eyes on it now. He ran faster, pushing through tourists, his lungs burning. Ahead, he saw Sullivan walking toward a silver sedan, saw him pull out his keys, saw him reach for the door handle. "Sullivan, stop!" Marcus screamed, still 50 yards away. Sullivan turned confused. "What?" The explosion was deafening. The car erupted in a fireball that lifted it 3 feet off the ground before slamming it back down. Glass and metal flew in every direction. The shockwave knocked Marcus backward onto the pavement. His ears rang. Smoke filled the air. People were screaming, running. Somewhere in the chaos, he heard Sarah shouting through his earpiece, but the words were muffled, distant. Marcus forced himself up, stumbled toward the burning wreck. He knew what he'd find, knew Sullivan was dead. But he had to check. Had to try. Heat drove him back. The car was an inferno. Nothing inside could have survived. Federal agents swarmed the area. Someone grabbed Marcus's arm, pulled him back. "Sir, you need to clear the area." Marcus let himself be led away. His hands were shaking. His clothes smelled like smoke, and in his pocket the USB drive felt like it was burning through his skin. Sullivan had died trying to give him the truth. Now Marcus had to make sure that death meant something. The storm clouds gathering over Washington matched the darkness spreading through Marcus's investigation. He stood at his office window, the USB drive Sullivan had given him, burning a hole in his pocket. 47 complaints, 3 corrupt cops, and now a dead police chief who'd tried to come clean. His phone rang. Sarah Chen. "Sir, we have the preliminary analysis of Sullivan's car bomb. Military-grade explosive. Remote detonation. Whoever did this had professional training." Marcus pressed his forehead against the cool glass. "How long between Sullivan leaving me and the explosion?" 93 seconds. "They were watching us. They knew he was meeting me. They knew he'd talk." "Sir, there's more. We pulled security footage from the parking lot. The black sedan that followed Sullivan, it left 30 seconds before the explosion. Driver wore a mask, but we got a partial plate, running it now." Marcus turned from the window. "What about the USB drive? Is it clean?" "Forensics is checking for malware now. But sir, if what Sullivan said is true about Reform Initiative, we're looking at something much bigger than police corruption." "I know." Marcus sat down heavily. His body ached. The cut on his forehead throbbed. His wrists still bore the marks from Cole's handcuffs. "How's my family?" "Secure. Agents report no suspicious activity. Your wife and daughter are safe." Safe. The word felt hollow. Sullivan had probably thought he was safe too, right up until his car exploded. Marcus's deputy director, James Warren, knocked and entered without waiting. His face was grim. "We need to talk. Privately." Sarah left, closing the door behind her. Warren sat across from Marcus, hands folded. "I'm going to ask you a question, and I need you to answer honestly. Are you prepared for what happens if you keep pushing this meaning Sullivan is dead? Meaning someone inside law enforcement tried to delete your evidence? Meaning your family is under protection?" Warren leaned forward. "Marcus, you're a good man, a good director, but you've got a wife and daughter to think about." Marcus's jaw tightened. Don't what? Don't tell you the truth. Sullivan tried to fight the system, and look where it got him. His car is scattered across half an acre of the National Mall." Warren's voice softened. "I'm not saying walk away. I'm saying be smart. We arrest Cole and his team. We expose the quota system. We call it a win and move on. And let the people who armed criminals go free." "We don't know that's real. We have the word of a dead corrupt cop and a USB drive we haven't even verified." Marcus pulled out the drive, slammed it on the desk between them. "Then verify it, right now. Pull every file, check every transaction. Prove me wrong." Warren stared at the drive. "You really want to do this? Open this door?" "The door's already open. The moment Cole put his hands on me, the moment Jake planted those drugs, the moment someone inside the FBI tried to erase my evidence." Marcus stood. "I didn't start this war, but I'm damn well going to finish it." Warren was quiet for a long moment. Then he picked up the USB drive. "I'll get our best people on it. But Marcus, if this is real, if there really is a conspiracy this deep, you need to understand what you're up against. These people killed Sullivan. They won't hesitate to kill you. Let them try." Warren left. Marcus sat alone in his office, feeling the weight of every decision pressing down on him. His phone buzzed. His wife. "Marcus, Emily wants to talk to you." His daughter's voice came on small and scared. "Daddy, when are the men with guns going to leave?" Marcus closed his eyes. "Soon, baby, I promise." Amanda's mom called. She asked why we have police at our house. I didn't know what to say. "Tell her the truth. Tell her your daddy is doing his job, and sometimes that means being extra careful." "Are you in trouble?" The question stabbed through him. "No, sweetheart. But some bad people are mad that I'm trying to stop them from hurting others." "Like superheroes?" Marcus felt his throat tighten. "Something like that." "Then you have to stop them, even if it's scary, because that's what heroes do." He wanted to tell her it wasn't that simple, that the real world didn't work like comic books, that sometimes the bad guys won and the heroes died trying. But he didn't, because she needed to believe justice was possible. She needed to believe her father could make things right. "I will, baby, I promise." After they hung up, Marcus sat in silence. Then his computer chimed. Email from forensics. Subject line, USB drive analysis complete. He opened it, started reading, and felt the floor drop out from under him. Sullivan hadn't been exaggerating. The reform initiative was real. The weapons trafficking was real. And the names on the donor list made his blood run cold. 3 senators, 2 federal judges, the deputy mayor, and buried at the bottom of a Shell Corporation ledger, a name that made him physically ill. James Warren, his own deputy director. Marcus stared at the screen, mind reeling. Warren had just been in his office, had just tried to convince him to back off, had just taken the USB drive to have it analyzed. No. Warren had taken the drive to destroy it. Marcus grabbed his phone, called Sarah. "Where's Warren right now?" "He just left the building. Said he was going to forensics personally." "Stop him. Right now. Do not let him leave the property." "Sir, what's—" "He's compromised. He's part of Reform Initiative. Stop him now." Marcus ran from his office down the corridor toward the elevators. His phone rang. "Sarah. Sir Warren's gone. He drove out of the garage 3 minutes ago." Marcus slammed his fist against the wall. "Track his car. Put out an alert to all local PD. I want him found." "On it. Sir, if Warren is compromised, we need to assume he's had access to everything. Every file, every investigation, every protected witness." The implications hit Marcus like a freight train. Warren knew where his family was, knew which agents were protecting them, knew their entire security protocol. "Get my family out of that house, right now, different agents, different location, and don't tell anyone where you're taking them." "Already moving. Marcus, there's something else. Cole Mitchell just called the main line. He's asking to speak to you. Says he has information about Reform Initiative." Marcus stopped walking. "Cole, the same Cole who arrested me." "Yes, sir. He sounds terrified. Says people are trying to kill him. Says he'll trade information for protection." Marcus's mind raced. This could be a trap. Warren could have tipped off Reform Initiative. They could be using Cole as bait. But if Cole really did have information, if he really was scared enough to flip, Marcus couldn't ignore it. "Where is he?" "He won't say. Says he'll only meet with you, in person, somewhere public." "Tell him Union Station, main concourse, 30 minutes. Sir, that's not safe. After what happened to Sullivan, I know the risks, but we need what Cole knows. Set up a tactical team, full coverage. If this is an ambush, I want us ready." 28 minutes later, Marcus walked into Union Station. The main concourse was packed with travelers, tourists, people living their normal lives. None of them knew they were walking through a potential battlefield. Sarah's voice crackled in his earpiece. "Eyes on target. Cole Mitchell, northeast corner by the Starbucks. He's alone, no visible weapons. But sir, he looks bad, really bad." Marcus spotted him. Cole sat hunched over a cup of coffee, face bruised, hands shaking. When he saw Marcus approaching, something like relief washed over his features. "Director Hayes." Cole's voice was hoarse. Marcus sat across from him. "You've got exactly 3 minutes to convince me not to arrest you right now." "They're going to kill me." Cole wasn't looking at Marcus. His eyes kept darting to every face in the crowd. "They killed Sullivan. They're cleaning house. Everyone who knows about Reform Initiative is being eliminated." Then why aren't you dead yet? Because I'm useful. I know where they store the weapons. I know the distribution routes. I know which officers are on the payroll. Cole finally met Marcus's eyes. But they're testing me, making sure I stay quiet. And when they're sure I will when I'm no longer useful, they'll put a bullet in me just like they did to Davis. Marcus froze. Davis is dead. Found him 2 hours ago. Suicide, they're calling it. Single gunshot to the head. But Davis was terrified of guns. Never would have touched one. Cole's voice cracked. He was my partner. He was a good guy who got caught up in bad things, and they murdered him because he was going to talk. How do you know he was going to talk? Because he called me last night, crying. Said he couldn't live with what we'd done to you. Said he was going to the FBI, was going to confess everything. Cole wiped his face. 6 hours later, he's dead. Marcus pulled out his phone, pulled up Davis's file. Sure enough, there was a notation from 3 hours ago. Officer Davis Brennan found deceased in his home, apparent suicide, investigation ongoing. Jake's gone too, Cole continued. Disappeared. His apartment's been cleaned out. His car's gone. Either he ran or they took him. Why should I believe you? You beat me. You planted evidence on me. You tried to destroy my life. Cole looked down at his hands. Because I was wrong. Because I'm a racist piece of garbage who thought the badge made me better than you. Because I've spent 12 years of my life hurting people who didn't deserve it. He looked up, tears streaming down his face. And because I have a daughter too. She's 8. And if I don't get protection, they're going to use her to keep me quiet. Marcus felt something shift in his chest. Not forgiveness, not even sympathy. But recognition. Cole was terrified, and a terrified man was either the most dangerous or the most useful asset. What do you want? Witness protection, new identity, safety for my family, and in exchange I'll give you everything. Names, locations, bank accounts, the entire operation. Warren's name is already on the list. Cole's eyes widened. You know about Warren. I do now. Who else? Maxwell Chen runs the political side. He funnels city contracts to Reform Initiative shell companies. But there's someone above him, someone I've never met. They call him the director. Cole leaned forward. Not FBI director. Director of Reform Initiative. He's the one who started all this. Do you have a name? No, but I know someone who does. Someone who's been gathering evidence for years. Someone who's been waiting for the right moment to bring everything down. Who? Cole pulled out a phone, not his own, a burner. He showed Marcus a photo. A woman mid-50s standing outside a courthouse. Her name is Patricia Reeves. She's a federal prosecutor. She's been investigating Reform Initiative for 6 years. But every time she gets close, evidence disappears. Witnesses die. Files get lost. Cole put the phone away. She thinks there's a mole in the Justice Department, someone high up, someone protecting Reform Initiative. Marcus's phone buzzed. Sarah, he answered. Sir Warren just surfaced. He's at Maxwell Chen's private office. They're meeting right now. Marcus stood. Cole, you're coming with me. We're putting you in protective custody. Somewhere even Warren doesn't know about. They left Union Station, Marcus's tactical team forming a protective bubble around them. 3 SUVs, 8 agents, enough firepower to fight off a small army. In the vehicle, Cole sat silently, hands still shaking. I need to ask you something. Marcus didn't look at him. What? When this is over, when you've arrested everyone and exposed the whole conspiracy, what happens to me? Do I go to prison? Probably. For how long? That depends on how much you help us and how cooperative you are when it comes time to testify. Cole nodded slowly. I deserve it. Prison. All of it. What I did to you, to all those people. There's no excuse. Marcus finally looked at him. You're right, there isn't. But I want you to know something. When I saw that badge fall out of your wallet, when I realized who you were, I felt relief. Cole's voice was quiet. Because for the first time in 12 years, I thought maybe someone would finally stop us. Maybe someone with real power would finally make us answer for what we'd done. Redemption doesn't work like that. You don't get to feel better just because you got caught. I know, but I can help you stop the people who turned me into this. The people who created a system where guys like me thought it was okay to treat human beings like animals. Cole looked out the window. That has to count for something. Before Marcus could respond, his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered cautiously. Director Hayes? The voice was distorted, mechanical. You made a mistake taking Cole Mitchell into custody. Marcus's blood went cold. Who is this? Someone who's been watching you very carefully. Someone who knows where your wife and daughter are right now. Someone who can end this investigation with one phone call. If you touch my family, we don't want to touch them. We want you to walk away, release Cole, destroy the evidence, forget everything Sullivan told you. The voice paused. Do that, and your family stays safe. Your career stays intact. You get to be the hero who exposed 3 corrupt cops and cleaned up the police department. And if I refuse, then we start taking things from you. First your family, then your career, then your life, in that order. So you suffer maximum pain before you die. The line went dead. Marcus sat frozen. Beside him, Cole had gone pale. They know I'm with you. How could they know already? Sarah's voice came through the earpiece. Sir, we have a problem. Warren just left Chen's office. He's heading toward FBI headquarters. Marcus's mind raced. Warren had access to everything, including real-time GPS on all FBI vehicles. Everyone out, Marcus shouted. Abandon the vehicles right now. Agents looked confused but started to comply. They pulled over doors, opening, everyone piling out onto the street. 10 seconds later, the lead SUV exploded. The blast wave knocked everyone to the ground. Fire consumed the vehicle, black smoke billowing into the sky. Marcus's ears rang. He pulled himself up, checking Cole. The former cop was alive, bleeding from a cut on his forehead, but alive. They're not playing, Cole gasped. They're really trying to kill us. Sarah's voice, frantic. Sir, are you okay, Marcus? He found his earpiece on the ground, jammed it back in. We're alive, but we need extraction, now. Warren's tracking us. Copy that. Sending unmarked civilian vehicles. ETA 3 minutes. Marcus looked at the burning SUV. If they'd been inside when it detonated, they'd all be dead. Someone had remote access to FBI vehicles. Could trigger explosives from anywhere. Warren. It had to be Warren. 2 minutes and 40 seconds later, 3 civilian cars pulled up. Marcus, Cole, and the agents piled in. No FBI identification, no official plates, just random cars that couldn't be tracked. Where to? The driver asked. Marcus made a decision. Patricia Reeves's office. If she's been investigating Reform Initiative for 6 years, she'll have a safe place we can operate from. They drove in silence. Marcus watched every vehicle around them, looking for tails for threats. His phone buzzed constantly. Updates from Sarah, messages from his wife, calls from concerned agents. He ignored them all except one. A text from an unknown number. Your daughter looks beautiful in her school uniform. Such a shame if anything happened to her. Attached was a photo, his daughter, taken this morning, outside her school. Marcus's vision went red. Sarah, where is my family right now? Safe house in Virginia, full protection detail. They're secure. Check on them, right now. Send someone you trust absolutely. Have them physically verify my wife and daughter are safe. Marcus, what's wrong? He sent her the photo, heard her sharp intake of breath. On it. Sending a team now. Cole looked at the photo. They're escalating, trying to break you, make you scared enough to back down. It's working. Marcus's hands were shaking. They touch my daughter and I'll burn this entire city to the ground. Then don't let them. Use that anger. Channel it. Make them regret ever threatening your family. Marcus looked at Cole with new eyes. Since when do you give advice? Since I realized I have nothing left to lose. They're going to kill me anyway. Might as well go down fighting. Patricia Reeves's office was in a nondescript building in Arlington. No sign. No official marking. Just a door with a keypad. Marcus knocked. Waited. The door opened. A woman with sharp eyes and graying hair looked him over. "Director Hayes, I've been expecting you." "How did you know I was coming?" "Because Cole Mitchell disappeared 3 hours ago. Warren started acting nervous 90 minutes ago, and Sullivan's car exploded this morning." She stepped aside. "You're predictable, but that's okay. Predictable means I could prepare." Inside her office looked like a command center. Walls covered in charts, photos, documents, red string connecting names and faces, bank statements, flight records, everything. "How long have you been doing this?" Marcus asked. 6 years, 3 months, and 17 days. Patricia closed the door behind them, locked it, engaged 2 additional deadbolts. "My husband was a police officer, good man, honest. He found evidence of reform initiative, started asking questions. 3 days later he was dead, killed in the line of duty, they said. But I knew better." She walked to her wall of evidence. "I've spent every day since then collecting this, building a case, waiting for someone with enough power and enough courage to help me bring them down." She turned to Marcus. "Are you that person?" Marcus looked at the wall, at the faces, at the connections, at the scope of the conspiracy. "Yes," he said, "I am." Patricia smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who'd been waiting years for revenge. "Then let's destroy them." Patricia's wall of evidence had given them the ammunition they needed. 3 days of intensive preparation. 3 days of Marcus barely sleeping, coordinating with prosecutors, verifying every document, building an airtight case. 3 days of knowing that Warren was out there, that Reform Initiative was watching, that his family was one wrong move away from disaster. Now Marcus stood outside the congressional chamber, his hand gripping the leather folder containing everything. 6 years of Patricia's investigation. Sullivan's final testimony on USB. Cole's sworn affidavit. Bank records showing millions flowing through shell companies. Photographs of weapons shipments. Names, dates, transactions. Sarah appeared beside him. "Sir, it's time. They're ready for you." Marcus took a breath. Through the heavy oak doors he could hear the murmur of hundreds of voices. Senators, journalists, citizens who'd demanded seats in the gallery. The hearing had been announced 72 hours ago, and the nation had erupted. Half calling for justice, half calling it a witch hunt. "Is my family secure?" Marcus asked. "Yes, sir. New location, new team. Warren doesn't know where they are." "Has he been arrested yet?" Sarah's face darkened. "No, sir. He disappeared 6 hours after we identified him. We have alerts at every airport, every border crossing, but so far nothing." Marcus's jaw tightened. Warren was running, or hiding. Either way, the man who'd betrayed everything was still out there. "What about Maxwell Chen? Arrested this morning at his home. He's lawyering up, refusing to talk. But sir, his office was clean. Too clean. Someone tipped him off. He'd already purged his files. Reform Initiative is protecting their assets. They know we're coming." Marcus pulled open the door. "Let's give them something to really worry about." The chamber fell silent as he entered. Every eye turned to him. Camera flashes erupted like lightning. Marcus walked down the center aisle, his footsteps echoing. He saw reporters leaning forward, saw senators watching him with expressions ranging from support to hostility, saw in the gallery faces of people whose lives had been destroyed by the system he was about to expose. He reached the witness table, sat, adjusted the microphone, looked directly at the chairman of the Oversight Committee, Senator Robert Morris. "Director Hayes," Morris began, his voice grave, "you've made serious allegations against members of law enforcement, against city officials, against what you've called a criminal conspiracy reaching into the highest levels of government. Today, this committee will hear your evidence. But I must warn you, sir, that if these allegations prove false, if this is some kind of vendetta or political maneuvering, there will be consequences." Marcus met his gaze. "Senator, I welcome scrutiny. I welcome investigation, because everything I'm about to present is documented, verified, and true." Morris nodded. "Then, proceed." Marcus opened the folder. I'm going to tell you about an organization called Reform Initiative. On the surface, they're a nonprofit dedicated to police training and community safety. In reality, they're a criminal enterprise that has spent 6 years arming criminals, escalating violence, and profiting from the chaos they create. A murmur rippled through the chamber. Morris raised his hand for silence. Marcus continued. 3 days ago, I was pulled over by Lieutenant Cole Mitchell of the Metropolitan Police. He and his officers planted drugs in my vehicle, assaulted me, and arrested me on false charges. This wasn't random. This was part of a quota system designed to inflate arrest statistics for minority citizens. He pulled out the first set of documents. These are arrest records for Lieutenant Mitchell's unit over the past 18 months. 284 arrests. 267 of those arrests were of Black or Latino citizens. Of those, 97 resulted in dropped charges due to lack of evidence. 43 resulted in lawsuits alleging planted evidence or excessive force. The documents were distributed to the committee. Marcus watched senators flip through pages, their faces hardening. Why wasn't this investigated sooner? Senator Linda Vasquez asked. Because complaints were being suppressed, evidence was disappearing, witnesses were being intimidated. Marcus paused. And because someone inside the FBI was protecting Reform Initiative. The chamber erupted. Shouts, questions, cameras flashing nonstop. Morris slammed his gavel. Order! Director Hayes, are you alleging corruption within your own organization? I'm stating a fact. My deputy director, James Warren, has been on Reform Initiative's payroll for at least 3 years. He used his position to monitor investigations, erase evidence, and warn conspirators when we got too close. Marcus pulled out more documents. These are bank records showing payments from Reform Initiative shell companies to an offshore account controlled by Warren. Over $2 million in the past 36 months. Senator Vasquez leaned forward. Where is Deputy Director Warren now? Missing. We issued a warrant for his arrest 48 hours ago. He hasn't been seen since. Convenient. Senator Thomas Blake said, his tone skeptical. Your accuser is conveniently unavailable to defend himself. Marcus turned to Blake. Senator, with respect, Warren isn't my accuser. He's my accomplice. An accomplice who realized he was about to be exposed and ran. Or an innocent man fleeing a politically motivated witch hunt. Marcus felt heat rise in his chest. Senator Blake, 3 days ago, I was handcuffed, beaten, and arrested for a crime I didn't commit. A crime that was manufactured by corrupt police officers following orders from a system designed to target people who look like me. If you think that's political motivation, if you think I'm making this up, then you haven't been paying attention to the 47 other victims who filed complaints before me. Blake's face reddened. I'm simply saying that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Then let me provide it. Marcus signaled to Sarah, who brought forward a laptop. The screens behind him lit up with video footage. This is my dash cam recording from 3 days ago. You're about to watch Lieutenant Cole Mitchell's partner, Jake Brennan, plant drugs in my vehicle. Twice. The chamber fell silent as the video played. Crystal clear footage. Jake's hand pulling out the plastic bag, glancing around, tucking it into the trunk, then later slipping another bag into the back seat. When it ended, no one spoke. Marcus let the silence sit for a moment, then continued. Lieutenant Mitchell has since come forward. He's currently in protective custody, and he's provided us with the names of 17 other officers who participated in this quota system. He's also provided evidence linking the quota system directly to Reform Initiative. Why should we believe him? Blake demanded. He's a corrupt cop trying to save himself. Because his testimony matches evidence we've gathered independently. Because his partner, Officer Davis Brennan, was found dead 2 days ago in what was staged as a suicide. Because his other partner, Jake Brennan, has disappeared completely. And because Chief Harry Sullivan, who was prepared to testify about Reform Initiative, was killed when his car exploded at the Lincoln Memorial. The murmurs grew louder. Marcus raised his voice. 3 men who knew the truth about Reform Initiative. 1 dead in a car bombing, 1 dead in a staged suicide, 1 missing and presumed dead. That's not coincidence, that's conspiracy. Senator Vasquez looked shaken. Director Hayes, are you saying these men were murdered to protect this organization? I'm saying the evidence points to exactly that, Senator. Morris intervened. What is the nature of this conspiracy? What does Reform Initiative actually do? Marcus took a breath. This was it, the core of everything. They traffic weapons into urban areas. They use corrupted police officers to ensure those weapons aren't confiscated during arrests. The weapons flood the streets. Crime rates spike. Cities panic. Politicians allocate more money for police equipment and private security. And every dollar allocated goes to companies owned by Reform Initiative through shell corporations. He pulled out the organizational charts Patricia had created. Here's how it works. Reform Initiative is funded by defense contractors and private security firms. They create subsidiary companies with innocent-sounding names. Those companies bid on city contracts for police equipment, surveillance systems, private security. The contracts are awarded by city officials who are either on Reform Initiative's payroll or being blackmailed. The equipment is purchased at inflated prices. The profits are funneled back to Reform Initiative, and the cycle continues. Senator Blake was studying the charts. These are serious accusations. Do you have proof? I have invoices. I have shipping manifests. I have bank records showing the money trail. I have testimony from warehouse workers who handled the weapons. I have surveillance footage of police officers redistributing confiscated guns back onto the streets. Marcus paused. And I have the sworn testimony of a federal prosecutor who's been investigating this for 6 years. Patricia Reeves. Her husband was a police officer who discovered Reform Initiative's operation. He was killed in what was labeled a line-of-duty death, but Patricia has spent 6 years proving it was murder, and she's ready to testify. Morris looked at his fellow committee members. I think we need to hear from Ms. Reeves. Patricia entered through the side door. She looked small walking to the witness table, but her eyes were fierce. She was sworn in, sat down, and without preamble began speaking. My husband's name was Daniel Reeves. He was a good cop, honest. When he found shipments of weapons being stored in a police warehouse, instead of being destroyed as evidence, he started asking questions. When he traced those weapons to a shell company owned by Reform Initiative, he went to his superiors. 3 days later, he responded to a domestic disturbance call. He was shot and killed by the suspect. Her voice was steady, but Marcus saw her hands trembling. The suspect was also killed in the shootout. Case closed, except the ballistics didn't match. The bullet that killed my husband came from a different gun than the one the suspect was holding. A police-issued weapon. The chamber was absolutely silent now. I've spent 6 years investigating his death, 6 years collecting evidence, 6 years watching as witnesses disappeared, as evidence was destroyed, as anyone who got too close to the truth ended up dead or silenced. Patricia pulled out a thick folder. This contains everything. Autopsy reports that were altered, ballistics tests that were falsified, financial records showing payments to the officer who filed the initial report, and communications between that officer and Maxwell Chen. Blake stood. This is outrageous. You're accusing a sitting city official of conspiracy to murder a police officer based on what circumstantial evidence? Patricia turned to him. Based on the fact that the officer who killed my husband received $200,000 3 days after the shooting, based on the fact that Maxwell Chen personally approved that officer's early retirement with full benefits, based on the fact that the officer is now dead killed in a hit-and-run 6 months ago when I started asking questions again. Blake sat down slowly. Marcus resumed. Senator Blake, I understand your skepticism, but we're not asking you to take our word for it. We have documents. We have recordings. We have testimony from multiple sources, all pointing to the same conclusion. Reform Initiative is real. The conspiracy is real, and it has to be stopped. Morris cleared his throat. What do you need from this committee, Director Hayes? Authorization to continue the investigation without interference. Protection for witnesses. And most importantly, I need you to understand that this goes beyond police corruption. This is about a fundamental rot in our justice system, a system that has been weaponized against minority communities for profit. He stood looking at each senator in turn. 3 days ago, I was treated like a criminal because of the color of my skin. I was beaten, handcuffed, and arrested on false charges. And I'm the director of the FBI. If this can happen to me, imagine what's happening to people without power, without resources, without a voice. Marcus's voice grew stronger. This isn't just about bringing down Reform Initiative. This is about restoring faith in a system that has betrayed the very people it was meant to protect. This is about proving that justice isn't for sale, that badges don't make people above the law, that truth still matters. The applause started in the gallery. Citizens standing clapping. It spread through this chamber despite Morris's attempts to maintain order. Then Marcus's phone vibrated. A text from Sarah. Warren just surfaced. He's at a press conference. He's claiming you're the corrupt one. Marcus's blood went cold. He showed the message to Morris. Senator, I need to address something immediately. Morris nodded. This committee stands in recess for 30 minutes. Marcus rushed from the chamber, Sarah at his side. Where is he? National Press Club. Started 5 minutes ago. He's claiming you planted evidence against him, that you're using this hearing to cover up your own corruption, that Reform Initiative is a fiction you created to justify targeting political opponents. They reached a side office where a television was already on. Warren's face filled the screen. He looked calm, composed, nothing like a man on the run. Director Hayes is a good man who's been under tremendous stress, Warren was saying. The incident with Lieutenant Mitchell was traumatic. I understand why he might see conspiracies where none exist. But the fact is, Reform Initiative is a legitimate nonprofit. The accusations against them are baseless. And the evidence supposedly linking me to criminal activity has been fabricated. A reporter shouted a question. Deputy Director Warren, why did you disappear if you're innocent? I didn't disappear. I removed myself from a hostile work environment where my own director was turning the FBI into his personal vendetta machine. I'm here now, publicly, transparently offering to cooperate with any legitimate investigation. Marcus felt sick. Warren was good, really good. He sounded reasonable, concerned like a dedicated public servant, worried about his boss's mental state. Another reporter. What about the bank records showing payments to your offshore account? Fabricated. Director Hayes has access to sophisticated cyber resources. Creating false financial records would be trivial for someone with his capabilities. Cole appeared in the doorway. He's lying. Everything he just said is a lie. I know, Marcus said, but he's convincing, and half the country will believe him because it's easier than believing the system is this broken. Sarah's phone rang. She listened, face going pale. Sir, the congressional hearing is being suspended. Senate leadership is calling for an independent investigation into your conduct. They're saying we need to verify the evidence before proceeding. Marcus felt the floor tilt. They're stalling, giving Reform Initiative time to destroy evidence, intimidate witnesses, disappear. What do we do? Marcus looked at Warren on the screen, looked at the reporters hanging on his every word, looked at the game being played out in real time. Then he made a decision. We go nuclear. We release everything. Right now, every document, every recording, every piece of evidence we have, straight to the media. Bypass the committee. Bypass the investigation. Put it all out there and let the public decide. Sarah hesitated. Sir, that's against protocol. We could be accused of tampering with an ongoing investigation. We're already being accused of fabricating evidence. At this point, protocol is what's getting us killed. Marcus pulled out his phone. Get me every journalist you trust, every news outlet that hasn't been compromised. We're doing a massive data dump in 60 minutes. Cole stepped forward. If you do that, Reform Initiative will come after you with everything they have. No more subtle threats, no more warnings. They'll try to destroy you completely. Let them try. Marcus started making calls. They started this war when they decided black lives were worth less than their profit margins. I'm just going to finish it. 58 minutes later, Marcus stood in front of a wall of cameras. Not in an official FBI building. Not in a congressional chamber, but in Patricia's makeshift command center, surrounded by 6 years of evidence. My name is Marcus Hayes. I'm the director of the FBI, and I'm about to show you how deep corruption in this country really goes. He gestured to the wall behind him. Every document you see here is real. Every photograph is verified. Every bank record is authenticated. And starting right now, all of it is public. He nodded to Sarah, who hit enter on her laptop. 6 years of investigation, thousands of documents, all uploading simultaneously to every major news outlet to secure servers to backup locations around the world. You're going to hear people say I'm lying, that I'm mentally unstable, that I fabricated evidence, that this is a witch hunt. Marcus looked directly into the cameras. But documents don't lie. Bank records don't have political motivations, and the truth doesn't care about public relations. His phone was already exploding with calls, messages, threats, but he kept talking. Reform Initiative has spent years convincing you that increased police presence makes you safer, that militarized equipment protects communities, that aggressive enforcement prevents crime. But the reality is, they've been creating the very violence they claim to stop. They arm criminals, they escalate conflicts, they turn neighborhoods into war zones, all so they can sell you the solution to the problem they created. Marcus pulled out a photograph, his own face bruised and bloodied from Cole's assault. This is what happened to me 3 days ago. And I'm lucky. I'm alive. I have resources. I have power. But there are hundreds of people who weren't lucky, who didn't have resources, who had their lives destroyed by a system designed to profit from their suffering. He placed the photo down, pulled out another, a young black man, maybe 20. This is Marcus Johnson, no relation to me. He was arrested by Lieutenant Mitchell's unit 18 months ago, drugs planted in his car. He spent 6 months in jail before the charges were dropped. Lost his job, lost his apartment, lost custody of his daughter. His life was destroyed. And for what So Reform Initiative could boost their arrest statistics. More photos, more faces, more lives ruined. This is the real cost of corruption. Not money, not politics. Real people, real families, real futures destroyed. The cameras kept rolling. Marcus kept talking. And somewhere in America, Warren was probably watching, realizing his press conference had just been obliterated. When Marcus finally finished, when every piece of evidence had been uploaded, when every accusation had been made public, he looked at the cameras one last time. I'm sure there will be consequences for what I've just done. I'm sure Reform Initiative and their allies will come after me. But I don't care, because some things are more important than career, more important than safety, more important than following protocol. He paused. Truth is one of those things. Justice is another. And I'll burn down every corrupt system in this country if that's what it takes to protect them. He walked away from the cameras, exhausted, drained, but feeling something he hadn't felt in days. Hope. Sarah appeared beside him. Sir, it's working. The story is going viral. Every major outlet is running with it. Social media is exploding. People are demanding investigations, resignations, arrests. What about Warren? His press conference got cut off. Reporters started asking about the evidence you just released. He walked out. Marcus allowed himself a small smile. Good. Then his phone rang. His wife. Marcus, are you seeing the news? I'm making the news, sweetheart. I know, and I'm terrified, but I'm also proud. So proud. Her voice cracked. Come home, please. Emily wants to see you. I will. Soon, I promise. After he hung up, Cole approached. What you just did, that took guts. Or stupidity. Sometimes they're the same thing. Cole looked at the wall of evidence. My face is up there. My crimes. Everything I did. Yes. Good. People should know. They should see what I became. Cole was quiet for a moment. My daughter called me this morning. Asked if the bad things people were saying about me were true. I told her yes. She hung up on me. Marcus didn't know what to say to that. But you know what, Cole continued. She deserves to know the truth, even if it means she hates me, because lies are what created this mess, and only truth can end it. Marcus's phone buzzed again. Patricia this time. Turn on Channel 7, now. He did. and saw something that made his breath catch. Maxwell Chen surrounded by FBI agents being led from his home in handcuffs. The caption read, "Finance Commissioner arrested in Reform Initiative scandal." "They got him," Marcus breathed. Sarah was grinning. "It's happening. The arrests are starting. Every agency in the city is moving. Police, FBI, Justice Department. They can't ignore the evidence now that it's public." Marcus watched as more footage rolled. Other arrests, other officials. The dominoes were falling, but one face was still missing: Warren, and the mysterious director of Reform Initiative, the person at the top of the pyramid, the one pulling all the strings. Marcus knew this wasn't over, not by a long shot, but for the first time since Cole had slammed that baton on his car hood, Marcus felt like they might actually win. The war had truly begun, and justice was finally fighting back. The arrests were happening fast now, too fast. Marcus watched the news feed cycling through images of handcuffed officials being led from their homes. City councilmen, police captains, 3 state legislators, even a federal judge. Reform Initiative was hemorrhaging members as everyone scrambled to cut deals to save themselves, to throw someone else under the bus. But Warren was still gone, and the director who ever controlled Reform Initiative at the highest level remained a ghost. Sarah burst into Patricia's office where Marcus had been coordinating operations for the past 6 hours. "Sir, we have a problem. The arrests are moving too fast. Prosecutors are concerned we're not following proper procedure. Defense attorneys are already screaming about rights violations." Marcus didn't look up from his computer. "Let them scream. We have enough evidence to prosecute every person we've arrested 3 times over." "That's not the point. If we don't do this by the book, they'll walk on technicalities. Then we make sure the book gets rewritten." Marcus finally looked at her. "How many more arrests are pending?" 17. "But sir, the Attorney General is getting pressure to slow down, to let an independent investigation verify everything before we proceed." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Translation Reform Initiative is calling in favors, using their remaining influence to buy time." "Probably. But Marcus, we're stretched thin. We have witnesses in protective custody across 4 states. We have agents working triple shifts. We're running on fumes and borrowed authority. We stop now, we lose. They regroup, they destroy whatever evidence is left, and we're back where we started." Marcus stood, felt his body protest. He hadn't slept in 36 hours. His head still throbbed from Cole's assault. His wrists were bandaged where the handcuffs had cut deep. "How's my family?" "Secure, no incidents. Your daughter asks about you every hour." That hurt more than any physical wound. "Tell them I'll be home soon." "Will you?" Marcus didn't answer, because he didn't know. Reform Initiative was cornered, and cornered animals were dangerous. Warren was still out there. The director was still unknown, and Marcus knew from experience that the most desperate moves came right before the end. His phone rang. Unknown number. He almost ignored it. But something made him answer. Marcus Hayes. The voice was cultured, calm, almost friendly. Nothing like the distorted threats he'd received before. "You've caused quite a disruption." Marcus's blood went cold. "Who is this?" "Someone who's been watching you for a very long time. Someone who admires your tenacity. Someone who wants to offer you a choice." The director. A soft chuckle. "I prefer to think of myself as a businessman, but yes, I suppose that title works." Marcus grabbed a pen, scribbled a note to Sarah Trace. "This call." She nodded, started typing frantically. "What choice?" Marcus asked, keeping his voice steady. "You can continue this crusade. Arrest everyone on your list. Expose every connection. Destroy Reform Initiative completely." A pause. "Or you can accept that some battles can't be won, that some systems are too big to tear down, that sometimes the cost of victory is too high." Is that a threat? It's a reality check. "You've hurt us, Director Hayes. You've cost us money, people, infrastructure. But you haven't killed us. You can't. We're bigger than any organization. We're an idea, a necessity. Society needs what we provide." Society needs weapons flooding the streets, needs innocent people arrested, needs corruption at every level. Society needs someone to manage the chaos, to control the violence, to maintain the illusion of order. The voice remained maddeningly calm. We didn't create the problems, Marcus. We just profit from solving them. Someone always will. Better us than true chaos. Marcus felt sick. You're insane. I'm practical, and I'm offering you a way out. Walk away, take your family and disappear. We'll provide resources, a new identity, complete protection. You can live comfortably knowing you exposed some bad actors while the system continues functioning. And if I refuse, then we stop being polite. Your daughter's school has excellent security, but no security is perfect. Your wife drives the same route to work every day. Patterns are dangerous, Marcus. They make people vulnerable. Marcus's vision went red. You touch my family and you're one man. We're everywhere. We're in the FBI. We're in Congress. We're in the courts. We've been doing this for 20 years. You think exposing Maxwell Chen and arresting some dirty cops changes that? The voice hardened. We've already replaced them. The machine continues. Sarah held up her phone. Call is bouncing through 12 countries. Can't trace. Think about it, the director continued. You have 12 hours. After that, we start taking things from you, and we won't stop until you're broken or dead. Your choice. The line went dead. Marcus stood frozen, phone still pressed to his ear. Cole, who'd been listening from across the room, spoke quietly. He's bluffing. Has to be. Is he? Marcus turned to him. You worked for them. You know how they operate. Are they bluffing? Cole's silence was answer enough. Patricia entered, saw Marcus's face. What happened? The director called, gave me 12 hours to walk away or he starts killing my family. Then we move them again, somewhere even more secure. There is nowhere more secure. Marcus slammed his hand on the desk. Don't you get it? He's right. They're everywhere. They have resources we can't match, money we can't trace, influence we can't counter. So what? Patricia's voice cut like a blade. You just give up. After everything. After Sullivan died. After my husband died. After all the people they've destroyed. Marcus felt something crack inside him. I have a daughter, a wife. I can't sacrifice them for this. You think I didn't have family? You think everyone who's fought them didn't have people they loved? Patricia stepped closer. My husband knew the risks. He fought anyway, because some things are worth dying for. Not my daughter, never my daughter. The room fell silent. Sarah looked away. Cole stared at the floor. Patricia's eyes were hard, but understanding. Then Marcus's phone rang again. His wife. He answered with shaking hands. Marcus? Her voice was strange, too calm, too controlled. There's someone here who wants to talk to you. Ice flooded his veins. What? Who's there? A new voice. Male. Unfamiliar. Director Hayes, your wife and daughter are perfectly safe. For now. But my employer wants to demonstrate how serious he is about his offer. If you hurt them, we won't, not if you're reasonable. Background noise. His daughter crying. We're simply showing you that we can reach them any time we want. That your FBI agents, your security measures, your protocols mean nothing. Marcus heard his wife's voice steady despite the fear. Marcus, don't you dare back down. Don't you... Her voice cut off, a muffled sound. She's fine, the man said. Spirited woman, your daughter is braver than you'd think. Asked us why we were hurting people. Quite a question for a 12-year-old. Marcus felt tears burning behind his eyes. Let me talk to them. In 12 hours, you can talk to them all you want, assuming you make the right choice. The line went dead. Marcus stood motionless. Then he threw the phone across the room, watched it shatter against the wall. They have them. They have my family. Sarah was already moving. I'll call the protective detail, find out what happened. Don't bother. They're compromised. The director said it himself. They're in the FBI. They knew exactly where my family was. Marcus felt something shift inside him, some final barrier between reason and rage crumbling. Get me everything we have on Reform Initiative. Every name, every address, every known location. Sir, what are you? I'm going to find my family, and I'm going to kill everyone who took them. Cole stood. I'm coming with you. This isn't your fight. Like hell it isn't. They used me for years, turned me into someone I hate. If you're burning them down, I want to hold the match. Patricia grabbed her keys. My car's out back, untraceable. No GPS, no way they can track us. Us. Marcus looked at her. You think I've spent 6 years on this just to watch you go alone? No, we end this together. 20 minutes later, they were driving through the city. Sarah had stayed behind to coordinate with the few agents Marcus still trusted, the ones who'd been with him from the beginning, the ones whose files showed no connection to Reform Initiative. Cole sat in the back, loading weapons. Where do we start? Warren, Marcus said. He knows where they'd take hostages. He knows their safe houses. Warren's in the wind. Could be anywhere. No. Marcus pulled out his phone, opened a tracking app. I put a tracker on him 3 days ago, subdermal. He doesn't know it's there. Patricia glanced at him. Afoy. That's illegal without a warrant. I stopped caring about legal the moment they took my daughter. Marcus watched the blinking dot on his screen. He's at a warehouse in Southeast, Industrial District. Probably thinks he's safe there. They drove in silence. Marcus's mind was spinning, calculating, planning. He knew this was reckless, knew he should call for backup follow procedure, do this the right way. But the right way had gotten Sullivan killed, had gotten Davis killed, had put his family in danger. Sometimes the only way to fight monsters was to become one yourself. The warehouse was exactly what Marcus expected. Abandoned. No lights, no security. The kind of place someone like Warren would hide when the world was looking for him. They parked 2 blocks away, approached on foot. Cole moved like he'd done this 1,000 times. Patricia was surprisingly nimble for someone who'd spent 6 years behind a desk. Marcus's phone buzzed. Sarah. Sir, we've identified Warren's location. Sending backup now. He typed back. Tell them to stand down. This is personal. Marcus, you can't. He turned off his phone. The warehouse door was unlocked. That should have been the first warning. Marcus pushed it open anyway, gun-drawn rage overriding caution. Inside, a single light illuminated the center of the space. Warren sat in a chair beneath it, hands zip-tied behind his back, face bloody and swollen. Marcus stopped. This was wrong. All wrong. It's a trap, Cole whispered. I know. Marcus kept his gun up, scanning the darkness. But we're already here. A slow clap echoed through the warehouse. Footsteps. A figure emerged from the shadows. Late 50s, silver hair, expensive suit. He looked like someone's grandfather. Kind eyes, soft smile. Director Hayes, I'm disappointed. I really thought you were smarter than this. Marcus kept his gun trained on the man. The director, I presume. Please call me Richard. Richard Castellano. I'd shake your hand, but, well. He gestured at the weapons pointed at him. Circumstances. Where's my family? Safe. I told you they would be. Castellano walked slowly to Warren, placed a hand on the battered man's shoulder. Poor James here thought he could hide from us, thought his years of service bought him immunity. He was wrong. Warren's eyes were wide with terror. Marcus, he's insane. He's going to kill all of us. Probably, Castellano agreed. But first I wanted Marcus to understand something, wanted him to see the full picture. I'm not interested in your justifications, Marcus said. No, not even when they involve your beloved FBI. Castellano pulled out a folder, tossed it at Marcus's feet. Go ahead, look. Marcus didn't take his eyes off Castellano. Cole bent down, picked up the folder, opened it. His face went pale. Oh my God. What? Marcus demanded. It's a list of FBI directors. Going back 20 years. Cole's voice was hollow. Every single one has connections to Reform Initiative or its predecessor organizations. Castellano smiled. The Bureau didn't just tolerate our Operation Marcus. They helped build it. Federal funding, equipment requisitions, interagency cooperation, all sanctioned at the highest levels. You're lying. Check the dates. Check the signatures. Your predecessors knew exactly what we were doing. Some actively participated. Others looked the other way. But all of them understood that Reform Initiative served a purpose. Marcus felt the ground shifting beneath him. What purpose? Control, management, the illusion that someone's handling the chaos. Castellano spread his hands. America's too big, too diverse, too divided to govern through traditional means anymore. So we created a system. We manufacture crises. We provide solutions. We keep people scared enough to accept authority, but not so scared they revolt. It's elegant, really. It's evil. It's necessary. And deep down, Marcus, you know it. You know that without us, without someone managing the violence, directing the chaos, society would collapse. Castellano's voice was almost gentle. We're not the disease. We're the treatment. Unpleasant, yes, but vital. Marcus lowered his gun slightly. Where is my family? Make a choice. Join us. Use your position to help us rebuild what you've damaged, and your family goes home tonight safe and unharmed. And if I refuse, Castellano's smile disappeared, then you watch them die, right here, right now. Lights flared on. Marcus's stomach dropped. In the corner of the warehouse behind a chain-link partition, his wife and daughter sat on the floor, gagged, hands bound. A man stood behind them, gun in hand. His daughter's eyes were huge with fear. His wife's were burning with fury. You son of a... Marcus started forward. 3 men emerged from the shadows, weapons raised. Cole immediately aimed at them. Patricia did the same. Easy, Castellano said. Everyone stay calm. This doesn't have to end in violence. You brought my family here. You put a gun to their heads. This ended in violence the moment you started. Marcus's voice was ice. Let them go, now. Join us first. Never. Castellano sighed. Marcus, you're forcing my hand. I don't want to hurt them. But I will. I'll make you watch, and then I'll let you live with that pain for the rest of your very short life. Marcus's mind raced. 3 armed men. Castellano, the guard by his family, 6 enemies, 3 allies, his wife and daughter in the line of fire. No good options, no clean moves. He met his wife's eyes across the warehouse, saw her looking at him, saw her shake her head slightly, saw her mouth 2 words, do it. She meant the right thing, the just thing, the thing that might get her killed but would save hundreds of others. Marcus felt tears on his face. I'm sorry, he whispered. Then he raised his gun and fired, not at Castellano, at the lights. The warehouse plunged into darkness. Gunfire erupted. Marcus dove left, rolled, came up firing at muzzle flashes. Heard Cole shouting. Heard Patricia's weapon discharging. Heard his daughter screaming. He ran toward where his family had been using memory and desperate hope to guide him. Bullets sparked off metal around him. Someone tackled him from the side. He fought brutal and efficient the combat training from 20 years ago, coming back like muscle memory. A wet crunch. The weight fell off him. He kept moving. Found the chain-link fence. Scaled it. Dropped on the other side. Hands found him in the darkness. His wife. His daughter. He cut their bonds with a knife he didn't remember drawing, pulled the gags free. Can you run? He gasped. Yes, his wife said. He pushed them toward where he thought the exit was. Go. Don't stop. Marcus. Go. They ran. He turned back, firing blindly into the darkness, covering their escape, hoping Cole and Patricia were still alive, hoping he hadn't just signed everyone's death warrant. Emergency lights kicked on. Dim. Red. Marcus saw Castellano across the warehouse, gun in hand, saw 2 of his men down, saw Cole fighting with a 3rd, saw Patricia bleeding from her shoulder but still standing, saw Warren still tied to the chair, eyes wide with terror as bullets flew around him. It's over, Marcus shouted. FBI is already on the way. You're finished. Castellano laughed, actually laughed. Finished? You still don't understand. We don't finish. We adapt. We rebuild. 24 hours from now, Reform Initiative will have a new name, a new structure, and we'll keep doing exactly what we've always done. Not this time, Marcus fired. The bullet caught Castellano in the shoulder, spun him around. He dropped his gun, clutched the wound, but kept smiling. Killing me changes nothing. I'm replaceable. We all are. The system continues. Sirens wailed outside. Real FBI. Sarah must have sent them anyway, protocol be damned. The remaining Reform Initiative soldiers scattered. Castellano staggered toward a back exit. Marcus could have shot him again, could have ended it. But he let him go. Because Castellano was right, killing him changed nothing. The system would continue, unless Marcus burned it down completely. He ran to Warren, cut him loose. Start talking. Every name, every location, every backup plan they have. You give me everything, or I let them have you. Warren was sobbing. They'll kill me. We're all dead eventually. Question is whether you die a coward or die meaning something. Marcus grabbed his collar. Choose now. Warren chose. 6 hours later, Marcus sat in an FBI interrogation room, Warren across from him, a stenographer recording every word. Warren talked for 4 straight hours, named names, revealed accounts, exposed contingency plans, gave up everything. Because he knew Castellano would never forgive his failure, knew Reform Initiative would hunt him forever. His only chance at survival was witness protection and hoping the FBI could actually protect him. When it was over, when every word was documented, Marcus stood. His entire body ached. His daughter was safe at home with his wife, both traumatized but alive. Cole was in a hospital recovering from a gunshot wound. Patricia was in surgery, doctors saying she'd survive. Sarah met him in the hallway. Sir, it's done. We have arrest warrants for 93 individuals across 17 states. The Attorney General has authorized a task force. Reform Initiative's assets are being frozen. Their shell companies are being seized. Marcus nodded numbly. Castellano. Gone. But we'll find him, eventually. He's right, you know, about the system, about how deep this goes. Maybe, but we just proved the system can be fought, can be changed. Sarah touched his arm. You did this, Marcus. You stood up when no one else would. Sullivan stood up. He died for it. Patricia stood up. She almost died. Cole stood up. He lost everything. Marcus looked at her. I didn't do this alone. And I can't let their sacrifices be for nothing. What are you saying? I'm saying we don't stop. We keep digging, keep exposing, keep fighting until every single person connected to Reform Initiative is in prison or running scared. He straightened his shoulders. This isn't over. It's just beginning. 2 months later, Marcus stood at a podium in front of the Justice Department. Cameras from every major network pointed at him. In the audience, his wife and daughter sat in the front row. Cole, released from the hospital, sat beside them. Patricia, arm in a sling, smiled from her seat. Today, Marcus began, we announce the results of the largest anti-corruption operation in FBI history, 93 arrests, 47 convictions already secured through plea deals, assets totaling over $4 billion seized, and most importantly, the complete dismantling of an organization that spent 2 decades terrorizing communities and profiting from their suffering. He paused, letting the magnitude sink in. But this isn't a victory, not really, because Reform Initiative didn't exist in a vacuum. It thrived because our systems allowed it to, because good people looked the other way, because justice became negotiable based on power and money. Marcus looked directly at the cameras. So today, I'm also announcing my resignation as FBI director effective immediately. Gasps rippled through the crowd. His wife's face showed she'd known this was coming. His daughter looked confused but proud. I'm resigning because I can't rebuild trust in a system from inside that system. I'm resigning so I can fight for change without the constraints of protocol and politics. And I'm resigning because someone has to show that accountability applies to everyone. He paused, including me. The questions erupted, reporters shouting, cameras flashing. But Marcus just smiled, because for the first time in his life, he was truly free. Free to fight without rules, free to pursue justice without compromise, free to show his daughter that principles mattered more than position. He walked off the stage. His wife met him. His daughter hugged him tight. "What now, Daddy?" she asked. Marcus looked down at her, at the hope in her eyes, at the belief that the world could be better. "Now," he said, "we make sure this never happens again, no matter how long it takes, no matter what it costs." "Like a superhero," he smiled. "Exactly like a superhero. Because that's what the world needed. Not perfect people, not untouchable institutions, but ordinary humans willing to stand up and say enough, willing to sacrifice comfort for conscience, willing to fight even when winning seemed impossible. 3 corrupt cops had thought they could plant drugs on just another black man and walk away. Instead, they'd triggered a reckoning that toppled an empire and exposed corruption at the highest levels, all because one man refused to be silent, refused to accept that injustice was inevitable, refused to believe that the system couldn't change. Marcus Hayes had been beaten, arrested, threatened, and nearly broken. But he was still standing, still fighting, still believing that truth mattered more than power, and that belief, shared by millions watching across the nation, was the most dangerous weapon Reform Initiative had ever faced. Because you couldn't arrest an idea, couldn't corrupt a movement, couldn't silence a demand for justice that echoed from every corner of the country. The fight wasn't over. Castellano was still out there. Other corruption would surface. New threats would emerge. But for the first time in a long time, the people had a reason to hope, had proof that the system could be challenged, that justice could win, that one person standing up could start an avalanche that buried tyranny. Marcus walked out of the Justice Department building with his family into the afternoon sun, into an uncertain future, into a world that desperately needed people willing to fight for it. And he was ready, not as FBI director, not as some untouchable authority figure, but as a father, a husband, and a citizen who understood that freedom required eternal vigilance and that justice demanded sacrifice. The badge he'd worn for 23 years was gone, but the conviction that had driven him to earn it remained burning brighter than ever, lighting a path forward for everyone brave enough to follow.